Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your English language live class. And today, the lesson which we are going to learn, that is non-finite verbs, right? Now, before understanding non-finite verb, what is required for you people to understand is the difference between finite verbs and non-finite verbs. All right. So let us look into it. Let us look at the following examples dealing with finite verbs and non-finite verbs. First, let us look at the set of examples which are written under finite verbs. Okay. They play football. He plays football. Then you are playing football. She is playing football. They were playing football. So what do we observe that here um, the verbs they are changing, right? We see some or the other kind of modification in the verbs. How is it happening? Depending upon the subject. See, here it is they, the subject is they, so the verb is play. Here the subject is he, so the verb is plays. Okay, if you remember the subject verb agreement which we did, what did we learn? That we learned that the verb should be in agreement with the subject. Now, what is the subject over here? The subject is they is plural, so we will be using a plural verb. When the subject is singular, as it is in the second case, see here, he, so we will be using a singular verb. Now moving on to the third sentence, you are playing football. Here it is denoting a continuous tense, right? Then she is playing football, again a continuous tense. They were playing football, it is a past continuous tense. So what do we observe? That in finite verb, the verbs are changing with respect to the subject, with respect to the tense, right? So there is some or the other kind of modification which is observed in finite verbs. However, when we come to non-finite verbs, what do we see? They like to play football. He likes to play football. So whether the subject is plural or the subject is singular, what do we see? That there is no effect on this pair of words to play. Okay, it remains the same, right? Similarly, come to the third one. She is playing football. Here it is present. Is denotes present, but playing remains playing only. Whether we use it with is or we use it with was. So what do we see? That the words which are written in yellow, they are the non-finite verbs because they are not changing with respect to the tense and the subject. Okay. So now let us look at the differences. So here lies the difference in front of you on your screens. Finite verb. What is a finite verb? A verb that is limited by the number, the person, the subject, and the tense. Okay. So it is limited. That means it depends on the number, the person, its subject, and the tense. Okay. Um, the person means first person, second person, third person. Then again, number means singular or plural. Subject, obviously, subject verb agreement, and tense also we saw in tense that it used to change. Like she is playing, she was playing. So is and was are changing. Whereas in the non-finite verb, a non-finite verb is a verb that is not limited by the number, the subject, the person, and the tense. So it does not depend on these things. These factors do not affect the non-finite verbs. So I hope the difference between the finite and the non-finite verb is clear to you people. It's very simple that a finite verb, it is finite, it is limited. Okay, finite itself means limited. So it is limited by what? It is limited by these factors which I have told you, that is the number, the subject, the person, the tense. However, non-finite verbs, they do not depend on these factors, they remain unaffected. Okay, so now we come over to the different types of non-finite verbs. There are three kinds of non-finite verbs: the infinitive, the participle, and the gerund. Okay, so first of all, we look into the infinitive. What is an infinitive? An infinitive is a non-finite verb. The very first point for the infinitive, that it is a non-finite verb. Okay, because we are studying it non-finite verb. So this is the first category of non-finite verb, infinitive. It is a non-finite verb and it is generally preceded by to. Okay, if you remember the set of examples we did in the second or third slide, she likes to play football. So to play is the infinitive because the verb play is preceded by to, and it is a verb, right? But it gives the force of a noun, adjective, or an adverb. So although it is a verb, but when it is preceded by the word to, it gives us the force of a noun, an adjective, or an adverb. Let us look at the example and then we'll come to know how it is happening. The children have come to see the play. Now the children have come for what? To see the play. Here, to see. The word see is a verb, but when we are writing to before it, when it is preceded by to, then it becomes an adverb. Okay, because it is qualifying the other verb that is come. So the children have come for what? To see the play. Then the principal would like to call for a meeting. What would the principal like? To call. So here it is doing the work of a noun. All right. Similarly, I would like to play with the cat. What would I like? To play with the cat. So see, in all the three sentences, what do we observe? That all the verbs like see, call, and play, they are preceded by the word to. See, to see, to call, and to play. So what do we learn? That in most of the cases, the verbs which are preceded by to, they form the infinitive, and infinitives always give the force or give the effect, or they are used like a noun, an adjective, or an adverb. Now we'll study about the uses of infinitives. So first and the foremost is to express purpose. Okay, I want to learn French. What is my purpose? What do I want? I want to learn French. So can you spot the infinitive over here? I think it will be very simple for you people to spot it. See, to learn. As the subject of the sentence, it is used in the beginning as well. See, to become a writer is my passion. What is my passion? To become a writer. After the direct object, she asked him, what did she ask him? To go to sleep, right? So this is the direct object. Him is the direct object because the action is being performed on him, right? So this becomes a direct object. And it can be used after, it is used after direct object as well, like she asked him to go. To make a judgment of comment about someone or something, like it is good to speak truth when we make a judgment, or when we tell what should be done, what ought to be done. So that is in those cases also, infinitives are used. Again, it is used to complete the meaning of the verb. For example, I need something to eat. If suppose to eat was not would have not been written over here, I need something, then it would have, the sentence would have been incomplete. The meaning of the verb would have been incomplete, that is need. Okay, we would have not understood what is my requirement, what do I need. But when we insert to eat here, then it gives the complete meaning to the verb need, right? Then after adjectives also, he is too busy. Adjective is busy, and he is too busy to go out. That means he's so busy that he cannot go out. So he's too busy to go out. So to go again is the infinitive. Then with question words like I do not know how to start. Okay, how to start the machine. This is the question word how, right? Then after how, after these question verbs, we use infinitive when it is required. But there are certain cases where the verb is the verb is an infinitive, but the word to is omitted. Okay, we'll see where all do we have to omit to, because exceptions are always there. See, to is omitted. Just a second. To is omitted after modals. We learned about modal auxiliary, right? What were the modals? The words like may, will, would, can, could. So after these, after such words, we do not use to. Look at the example. I will do it. Okay, so here do is a non-finite verb, but there is no to over here because we are not supposed to write to. Okay, to is omitted here. So what will be the this sentence is equivalent to this one. It is for your understanding. That is why I have written over here. I am willing to do it. So if you would have written it like this, I am willing to do it, then to do would have been written as an infinitive. But when it is used as a modal, as the original modal, then we do not use to over here. Okay, so just keep this thing in mind that after modals we do not use to with infinitive. Then next is after verbs like see, hear, feel, know, observe, make, help, need, please, etc. After such words also we do not use to. Like I heard her sing. I heard her to sing would be a wrong statement. Okay, so I heard her sing. Okay. Then after but and than also, but when but and than are used in the sense of except, okay, when they give the meaning, when their meaning is except, then we do not use to. For example, she did nothing but cry. So here but to cry would be a wrong statement. But see, because but is giving the sense of except. That is why we will not use a to over here before cry. He is better able to argue than work. Again, here also we won't be using to. Okay, so these are the cases where the word to is omitted in infinitive, right? So I hope infinitives is clear to you, and now we'll move on to the um, next type of non-finite verb, that is the participle. So the participle is, again, it is a non-finite verb. It is a kind of non-finite verb. It is a verb that does the work of an adjective. This is the important thing which you should keep in your mind, that it does the work of an adjective. And again, it is of two types. Further, it is divided into two types: past participle and present participle. Okay, so we'll find out and we'll understand what are these. Let us see. First of all, we'll deal with the present participle. Okay, present participle. Generally, the present participle, it ends in ing. Okay, we add an ing in the verb to make it a present participle. It shows an ongoing or incomplete action. It is but obvious that when if we are using ing, that shows continuity. Okay, any verb plus ing shows what? It shows continuation. Now let us look at the example. I saw a thief stealing the money. The thief was stealing the money and the action was incomplete. It was an ongoing action. So the verb was steal, but when we add an ing over here, then it becomes a present participle. We can hear a dog barking. Okay, the dog was barking. It was an ongoing action. The swirling waves engulfed him. Okay, again swirling waves. Cing. Seeing a mad dog running towards my house, I quickly bolted my door. So, what do we see? That all the verbs they are being added with ing, and then they become present participle. Okay, and what is the use of present participle? It shows an ongoing or incomplete action. We look at the uses. To form continuous tense, right? He is walking on the road. Walk plus ing becomes walking, and walking is the present participle. Okay, so in this I want you people to understand. See, is walking, two set of verbs over here. So here is the finite verb because it will change if we change the subject, okay, or if we change the tense. But walking will remain the same. So walking is a non-finite verb. I'll give you an example. For example, here it is written he is walking on the road. So he is a singular number. But if we write they, so this is will change. The sentence will become they are walking on the road. So he is walking on the road and they are walking on the road. Now compare these two sentences. Walking remains same in both the sentences, but what is changing is changing. Is becomes are. Okay. Similarly, if we change the tense, he is walking on the road. If we want to write it in the form of past continuous, then he was walking on the road. Again, in this case also, walking remains the same, but is becomes was, right? So that is why is the non-finite, is the finite verb. This is the finite verb, and walking is the non-finite verb. I hope this is clear to you. Now moving on, it is used as adjective also. For example, it is an interesting book. So book, it is telling the quality of the book, interesting. Then after verbs of movement, for example, she came. How did she came? Running. So this is also a participle, present participle, and in each case, it is telling us it is doing the work of an adjective. Then it is used to modify verbs like having said that she went on her way. That means after saying that she went on her way. That means she said she completed one action and then she went on her way. So having said that, it is modifying the verb said. Then to explain a reason, arriving at the bus stop, we saw an enormous queue. So this again is the reason, like we saw an enormous queue. So how do we explain it? Arriving at the bus stop. Unless we go to the bus stop, how can we see the queue? So it gives the explanation of the reason as well. Now we come over to the past participle. Okay, it is easy, very easy. So the past participles, they end in ed or d or t. Okay, whatever is required. It shows an action that has been completed. What is the difference between present and past participle? Present participle shows us the action which is ongoing, which is incomplete. But past participle shows an action that has been completed. Now let us look at the example. Deceived by his brother, he sought justice from the court. That means he had been deceived by his brother. This action has been completed, and after this he went to the court. He knocked the doors of the court for justice. Then a lost opportunity never comes back. So an opportunity which is lost, it never comes back. That means the opportunity has been lost, the action has been completed. They left long before it started pouring. So they had already left when the rain when it began to rain. She cried over a broken vase. So in all the four sentences, what do we see? That the action has been completed, and in all the four sentences, we are seeing that past participle is being used. You know past participle. The third form of the verb is the past participle. Now, what are the uses? It is used to form perfect tense, okay, because the third form of verb is used in perfect tense. If you remember, when we did tense, we learned this. Okay, for example, they have done their work. This is a perfect tense, have plus third form of verb. So done is the past participle over here. You people are very much aware with past participle, so it will be easy for you to understand. Then in the passive voice, again in the passive voice, we always write the third form of verb. A letter was written by Nia, so written is the third form of the verb, which is the past participle. As adjective, she found my lost ring. Okay, it is used as an adjective. What type of ring? Lost ring, the ring which I lost. And in phrases that is confused by the assignment, Maria asked her instructor for extra help. So in all such cases, we use past participle. Now comes an important point which you people should understand really well. The first one is the point. The thing is that you have to learn how to join sentences using participles. When two sets of sentences are there, then how do we join it? How do we combine it to make it uh, as one sentence? Okay, so the first case, there are two cases. The first case is when two sentences are given and the subject in both the sentences are different. So look at the example. Ray saw Alex. So here subject is Ray and Alex was cleaning the house. Here the subject is Alex. Okay, so there are two different subjects. So what do? We the object of the first sentence. See, this is the object of the first sentence. So the object of the first sentence becomes the subject of the second sentence. Let us see how does it happen. Look at the example. Look at the combined sentence. Ray saw Alex cleaning the house. So we remove this was, okay, and we use Alex once, and then we write the whole sentence without any full stop in between. Ray saw Alex cleaning the house. So this becomes our participle. Cleaning becomes present participle. Okay. Now the second case is in the second case, um, when the subject in both the sentences is same. Okay, so when the subject in the first case the subjects were different, but in the second case in both the sentence the subject would remain the same. Let us look at the example. She drove as quickly as possible. So she is the subject here also, and look at the second sentence, the second set of sentence. She arrived just in time. So she and she. Let us see how do we do it. So when such type of sentences are given, then what do? We convert one of the finite verbs into a participle. Okay, two finite verbs are given, drove and arrived. Okay, so what would we convert? What action would have taken place before? Drove only. So we will convert this finite verb into a participle. That is, driving as quickly as possible, she arrived just in time. So we will use she just once. Okay, and we convert one of the finite verbs into participle, and generally we convert that finite verb which has taken place earlier than the latter. So this is how we join the sentences using participles. Now we come over to the last type of non-finite verb, and that is gerund. So gerund is again a non-finite verb, and it ends in ing. See, present participle also ends in ing, and gerund also ends in ing. And we look at the difference also. Gerund works like a noun. However, present participle works like what? Like an adjective. So now let us look at the examples. The boys are tired of running. We enjoy eating. The child loves watching television. Dying is better than lying. Okay, so these are what do we see that in each and every example, what did we observe? That the verbs are used with ing. Okay, the gerund always ends in ing. We look at the uses now. It is used as the subject in the beginning, like swimming is the best exercise. What is the best exercise? Swimming. It is used as the object of the verb. Children love making sandcastle. Okay, what is the object? Making. What do children love? Making sandcastle. Object of preposition, when it is used after preposition, then a noun which is used after preposition, that is known as object of preposition. So he was punished for what? For telling a lie. Okay, so you are telling is not doing the work of a verb, but it is doing the work of a noun, and it is used as a complement to the verb to be. For example, praising all like is praising none. Okay, so is praising none. This is what the use of the gerund. Now we look at the difference between the gerund and past present participle. See, gerund has the force of noun and present participle has the force of an adjective and a verb. Let us look at the example. He is fond of playing cricket. Okay, what is he fond of? Playing cricket. So here playing is doing the work of a noun. Okay, here it is doing the work of a noun. But here playing cricket, he gained his health. Okay, so here it is not working as a noun, therefore it is a present participle. So we will have to understand the sense of the sentence, we will have to understand the meaning of the sentence, and we will have to understand that in what context these words are being used, and then we'll be able to find out what is it, whether it is a gerund or it is a present participle. Right, so we have done all the three kinds of non-finite verbs, and I hope the differences between the finite and non-finite verbs are clear to you. So if there is anything which you people want to ask, you may ask. Otherwise, we'll start with the practice. Okay, so now let us see what do we have to do in the first exercise. You have to identify the non-finite verbs. Sentences have been given to you, and you have to tell me, first of all, pick out the non-finite verb and tell me its kind. Have a look at the 7 sentences, take 30 seconds and try to write the answers, because all of you are supposed to answer. So the first one, Rahul wanted to do his work. Yes, Shubh, give me the answer. Just a minute. Yes, now you can unmute yourself. You are not audible, child. Arav?
Ma'am, to do is an infinitive.
Yes. Now you are audible. Come again. Shubh?
To do is an infinitive.
Very good. So to do is the non-finite verb over here, and it is an infinitive. Very good. Next one will be answered by Arav. Yes, Arav.
Ma'am, it's gerund. Gerund.
Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it doing the work of a noun? Barking. I think it's not. It is doing the work of an adjective. Okay, because we are telling the quality of the dog.
Present participle.
Very good. That is why I had given you this. This is present participle. All right. And this was infinitive. Next, a burnt child gets fire, Divyanshi.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Burnt, it's past participle.
Good. Burnt is past participle. Next will be answered by Yashi. Yes, Yashi. They worked hard to earn. Come again. I think there's some problem with your network or what?
Ma'am, worked is infinitive.
Worked is infinitive. Where is to? And worked is a finite verb, because see, if you
Ma'am,
change
to
the,
earn.
Yes,
To earn.
because if you change the tense, then this worked will become work, right? If we
Yes,
write
ma'am.
it in the form of a simple present, then they work hard to earn. What will remain same? To earn will remain same. So this
To
is an
earn.
infinitive. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Next will be answered by Atharv. Reading books is a good habit. This is really simple. Atharv Singh,
Ma'am, the answer is reading.
and its type.
Ma'am, infinitive.
Infinitive. What is the definition of infinitive? It always starts with two. Only one or two exceptions were there. Who will give me the answer? Who knows the answer? Yes, Shubh. No, wait. Ayati will give. Yes, Ayati.
Ma'am, there is ing. That's why it is gerund.
Very good. There is an ing and it is doing the work of a noun. That is why it is a gerund. Right? Good. Sixth, seeing is
Yes, ma'am.
believing. Seeing is believing. Anushka,
Ma'am, believing is gerund.
seeing is gerund. See? Okay, it is used as a noun. Next is to err is human. Nandika,
Ma'am, the answer is to err is infinity.
to err is infinite.
Infinity.
Very good. Okay, so just keep this thing in mind that infinitives have to with the verb, and present participle and gerund have ing, and past participle is the past form of the verb, the third form of the verb. But then you have to see whether it is changing with the change in subject and change in tense. Only then you will write it as the non-finite verb.
English. Just listen to.
Now we'll see how do we join the following sentence. You have to join the following sentences using participles. Take a look at the 4 sentences, try the answers, and then come back to me and tell me the answer. Now the first one, who will tell me the first one? Let me see. Anvesha will tell. Yes, Anvesha. We started early, we
Yes,
arrived at noon.
we start early and arrived at noon.
So this is not conjunction. We have to join it using participle. Okay. Shuk, what is your answer?
Starting early, we arrived at noon.
See, when the first sentence is in simple past, okay, we generally started with having. Having started early, we arrived at noon. Okay, so having started. Starting early will be incorrect. Having started early, we arrived at noon. Is that clear? Now next one. The weather was fine. I went out. Who will tell? Yashi? Yes, Yashi.
As the weather was fine, so I went out.
So again, you people are joining it with conjunction. See, the weather being fine. Okay, see, whenever a be verb is used in the sentence, then we remove the be verb and we write being. Okay,
Okay.
we don't have to use a conjunction. We have to use a participle. So the weather being fine, I went out. Here there was no be verb, so we had used having, right? But whenever there will be a be verb, is was were are, we will use being. The weather being fine, I went out. There will be no full stop in between. Next, she took the brush, she began the painting. Priyanshi.
Ma'am, answer is taking the brush, she began the painting.
Yes, that is correct. Taking the brush, she began the painting. Next is I lost all my money. I went home. Arav.
Losing all my money, I went home.
See here, the action has been performed. It is done. It is over. So we will be using having lost. Okay. In the first and the fourth sentence, the action is complete. Right. So here we will be using having. But in the third sentence, as you see, she took the brush, she began the painting. Here the second part of the sentence is in continuation. So taking the brush would be the correct form instead of having taken. Okay, but when the second form of the sentence is also the action is complete, then we use having. So you people will have to practice this, that where you have to use having and where you don't have to use having in the past tense. However, wherever the be verb will be used, there we will be using being. Okay, so I'll take this up later when we will do practice. So till then you people have time to practice joining the sentences using participle. This is the last set of exercise. You have to fill in the blanks with suitable non-finite verb. Look at the question, look at the sentences. Try the answers, write down the answers and tell me. All right, so the first one, dash the room, I saw him. Let me see. Ayati.
Ma'am, it will be entered the room, I saw him.
No, having entered or entering. Okay, entered the room will be incorrect. Right? Next, please give me some water. Dash. Who has not answered so far and is willing to answer? Nandika. Yes, Nandika.
Ma'am, the answer will be please give me some water to drink.
To drink, absolutely correct. And to drink is what type of non-finite verb?
Ma'am, infinitive.
Yes, correct. Very good. He was too tired. Dash. Juveria. Yes, Juveria. Okay, you. Please put your hand down. Sanvi. Yes, child.
He was too tired to work.
He was too tired to work. Very good. Correct. Next, the man seems dash. Shubh. Yes, Shubh.
Man seems worried.
The man seems worried. Okay. WORRIED. Worried. Past participle. Next is dash is a good art. And you have to use sing. Vyanshi.
Ma'am, it would be singing is a good art.
Singing is a good art, and singing is what type of non-finite verb?
Ma'am, it is ma'am, present participle.
Are you sure? Isn't it doing the work of a noun? Singing, what is a good art? Singing
Yes,
is a good art. So Yashi, what is singing?
Ma'am, gerund.
Yes, gerund. Good, good. So this is it for today. I think, yeah. Thank you, children. I hope you people have understood.
Thank you, ma'am.